The philosophy I have is control what you can. You can control your quality of your cattle. You can control the quality of your feed. You control what you can and let the rest take care of itself. Here at the Bell Ranch, we focus on producing Brahman Angus F1 replacement quality females. Last year when we weaned, we backgrounded for 45 to 60 days and we sold our steers, but then there was a group of heifers that we kept for ourselves. We turned them on a native grass pasture in Brock with a mixed 30, and those heifers hadn't missed a lick. The mixed 30 is good stuff. I would rather have my bulls and my heifers just out there doing it on their own with a lick tub and grass and let them go. I'll give them a head start, but then after the head start, they do their thing. I want whoever comes to look at my heifers, when they see them in a pen, the first thought that goes through their head, those are nice heifers.
Hello, my name is Pat Collins with Mixed 30. I'm here today with Brian Babcock with the Poe Farms in Dallas, Georgia. Brian, tell us just a little bit about your operation here in Dallas, Georgia.
We run 450 head of cows. We got 100 head of replacement heifers.
Brian, how many acres does it take to maintain 450 mama cows here?
We run close to 1,200 acres.
Brian, how did you get started feeding Mixed 30?
Well, when we started it, we was actually using a different liquid feed. And the cattle were eating it all the time, and they weren't actually showing the results that we was wanting of it. And so another friend of ours told us about Mixed 30. And so we started feeding Mixed 30. We put Mixed 30 on half the cows, and we put the other feed on the other half of the cows. And the Mixed 30 did the job we was wanting to do. The cattle actually was able to maintain themselves on the hay. They weren't eating as much of it, and it was a lot more cost effective by feeding the Mixed 30 versus the other one. And so that we've stuck with Mixed 30 ever since.
And how does a Mixed 30 come to you?
It comes in a semi-load, and we have a holding tank. We can hold 16,000 gallons.
How many gallon tanks do you use out in the pastures?
They hold 250 gallons.
About how many cows will you run in a pasture on one tank?
30 to 40.
And you put enough out for about, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it lasts about 3 weeks.
And your intake would calculate out in approximately in that 2-pound range?
Yes, sir, real close to that. In the wintertime, all they get is hay and Mixed 30. And so if the cow's got to make it on that to be able to stay home.
Yeah. When the cows need it, they're eating it, they're consuming it.
Right, the cows, they only eat it when they need it.
So when the grass is green, they really didn't consume?
Not much at all.
And having Mixed 30 available to them basically essentially 12 months of the year.
Right.
Mixed 30 is a big part of your maintenance program, keeping that condition on that cow 12 months a year.
Yes, sir.
Preg rates, is there a percentage number that you use on it? 90% or 85 or 70 or?
As far as how many cows are pregnant going into winter?
Mm-hmm.
At least 90%.
That's a huge number to look at. We see areas where guys are challenged to get 70, 75%.
Right.
And with the right nutrition program, if they can approach 90%, that really pays dividends.
Right. Yes, sir.
And Mixed 30 having 50% of the fat is in the form of linoleic acid, of which the research has proven to be very, very key in getting these cows to cycle the breed back to increasing preg rates. Talk to us a little bit about weaning these calves and getting them over on a preconditioning ration.
So when we precondition our calves, we feed them about 6 pounds per head per day on a 4-way blend, and then they have Mixed 30, and then they have pastures.
And the Mixed 30 is available to them basically right after they're born, all the way up through their preconditioning program.
Yes, sir. Well, I definitely recommend it. I think it makes a big difference on our operation.
I'm here today with Justin Jones of All American Panel here in Nicholas, Georgia. Justin, how long have you been a dealer with Mixed 30, and how did it get started?
Back in, I guess it was early 2016, I actually run across the name of Mixed 30 in just looking for a supplemental type product for our cattle. I just thought it was another traditional liquid feed like we find here in the Southeast that was a molasses-based urea, type product. And I said, hey, stop, hold on, something's different about this, and I went back and got to looking into it a little bit. I actually called Mixed 30 there in Illinois and got directed to Andy Jones there, and he helped us get us up and going. But initially I was trying to buy the product, Andy actually said, hey, you're already in the equipment business. Could this fit into the portfolio too? And we weren't really looking for another job, but we found something that was a good fit for our cattle operation, and it worked good for us.
When you first started your dealership, you were your first customer to try the product out, and today you're at how many different customers?
I tried to get a little count there. We're somewhere around 174 that I can account for.
And you've been handling mixed 30 for how long now?
I think we got the product here, like I said, the 3rd or 4th of January in 17.
Tell us just a little bit about your tank setup here. You absolutely did it right.
I like to say, you know, we try to do everything the right way. We take pride in our work, so we kind of want it to reflect that. When we first started, we did have our single tank actually on a grass pad, I guess you can say. We done it wrong the first time, and we learned a lot from that. If I had it completely to go back over and do all over again, I would probably just have 3,000 gallon tanks. The reason being is the circulation process and speeding things up. That way we know every customer, every day, any day of the year is getting a consistent blend.
Talk about your delivery system. How many miles, how big of a radius, how far out do you go to deliver customers?
Because there weren't any other dealers really close to us here, we had an arrangement where we took a larger territory to begin with, and we were delivering up to, I think our furthest customer was 137 miles. We use a 1-ton pickup truck. We use a 1,025 gallon nurse trailer. We have customers that already have their own lick wheel feeders, and sometimes, you know, the case is when we get a new customer, we're filling a tank that they've used with a previous product. And sometimes we actually sell them a tank. We've got guys that's got 5 or 6 head of cows, and we've got folks that have several hundred head of cattle that have multiple tanks. We've got a few farmers that have cattle on multiple tracts of land and locations, and you know, I got one that's got 7 different places he's got tanks.
That is saving a huge amount of labor for him, not having to go feed his cows.
Right. They've started digging peanuts a couple weeks ago, and they're fixing to roll into cotton here in the next few days. So he has a busy couple months ahead of him when it all starts, and he depends on us to keep his cows in tip-top conditions.
So if a customer wants to get started, it's as simple as giving you a call, telling you where the pasture is, where the gate key's hid, and you can come with the lick wheel feeder tank, fill it up, and he can be started
That's
very
right.
quickly.
That's right. Yeah, it's
Within
a pretty.
a day, it's turnkey.
Yeah, we make it pretty painless. The real winner in this product is the convenience of it. I think that's a big factor for a lot of customers. So we try to make it super easy. I think anybody that buys the product, puts it out and feeds it based on the way it's recommended for their given situation, and they give it a year, I think they have a hard time going away from it.
I'm Mike Block with Mix 30. We're out here in Wingate, Texas today, out here with Matt Gray, out here on his operation. Take a look at his cows and his Mix 30 that he's feeding. Mr. Gray, appreciate you having us.
Yes, sir, no problem. Thank y'all for coming out.
Absolutely. What got you into Mix 30? What was the big selling point for you?
The big selling point to me was the fact that we tested it out, and we put it out, and what it does is the cattle, they would not eat dry grass through the winter months. We put that stuff out and they just went to town eating it. So we've been using it as to strip these old places off of this old dry, dead grass that's stagnant, and you know, they won't eat anymore.
Michael Boyd out of Wingate, he's your dealer and he's bringing out feed to you. How long has he been helping you with Mix 30?
It was 2 years in December.
We just got over a real hard cold snap. How did you see your animals respond to that?
Actually, they did really well, in my opinion. You know, they hit that feed hard those few cold days we had there, but you know, there's a lot of people around here that lost some livestock during this event, and like I said, that stuff seems pretty hot and keeps them warm and done what I needed it to do.
Well, that's good. Does it seem like they've kind of backed off since it's warmed up? I mean, we're getting closer to the 60s and 70s now.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, they have.
A lot of the guys we're seeing around here, they're probably closer to a pound to 2 pounds now once the cattle are comfortable.
Well, see, it's not even that, I'll tell you that.
Really?
Oh, I'm positive. I buy it in about 450 gallons every 2 weeks like that. And that was providing them about a 2 week span. And now, man, it's almost less than a month.
Mm-hmm. Well, really what that's telling you is these cattle are comfortable. They're really hustling out of the forage. They're getting as much as they can get out of the forage.
Yes, sir.
And a little bit of Mix 30 keeps their gut rolling and keeps their digestive health really efficient.
For sure.
And especially here, I mean, you can almost start to see a shade of green out there with this warmer weather.
And that's the plan. You know, once that green starts moving in, we start getting some rainfall, I'll move them off of this place and let it rest. And when we move them back in, it'll be nice, lush grass. So.
Absolutely. And that's what exactly we want to see. We get into the warmer months. We want to see them touching the mixed 30, but they're of course going to come down on the consumption.
Yes.
And then gives a chance for the producer to save some money on feed costs, but still keep that digestion going efficient.
Yes, sir.
And get the forage broken down.
And all I do is through the winter months is I supplement this hay grazer to make sure that they get everything they need. They still go out and forage, but I give them a bale here and there, you know, just to supplement into that deal. But like I say, I mainly depend on the dry grass that the land produces and that mixed 30 to get them through the winter months. And it's, like I said, it's doing the trick. In my opinion, it made my operation a money-making business. So our calf, the way they grow and fill out, I wish I had some. We just sold a bunch a few weeks back, but I wish I had some I could show you how thick and muscular these cattle have become. And that's the only thing I've added was the mixed 30.
I really push on this feed because it brings a fat source to the cow-calf guy that's affordable.
For sure. This is the way to go. I mean, I focus on my business. You know, I can't come out here every day and tend to these cattle, you know, as much as I'd like to. I just can't. And this is definitely a way to get myself out of that situation.
Mixed 30 liquid feed is a high-energy protein supplement created from a combination of corn and soy-based co-products. Mixed 30 can enhance the performance of cattle on both high and low-quality forages. On poor-quality forages, Mixed 30 can supply additional forms of protein as well as additional energy to meet rumen fermentation requirements. The high energy of Mixed 30 keeps cows in optimum condition and increases calf weight gain. Mixed 30 can help correct the protein-energy imbalance in high-quality forages by supplying the additional energy necessary for the utilization of the excess protein. This allows Mixed 30 to help alleviate bloat problems that can be associated with grazing in lush wheat pastures. Plain States Commodities, LLC, is the only company that mixes this exact protein and energy combination of nutrient-rich ingredients for all ruminant diets. Mixed 30 can be fed free choice or mixed in a grain ration. Contact your Mixed 30 dealer today by going to mixed30.com.